Hello, Archie Dunlop here with Talking Astrology with Archie on Monday, August the 21st, 2023. This is a standalone video in the sense that I'm only going to be talking about today's astrology and the I Ching reading for today. I will be talking about my topic of the day in a separate video, and I think that topic is going to be Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. One of the commenters on this channel, Caroline Jones 3158, she suggested I look at Klaus Schwab, and I think that's a very good idea. So thank you, Caroline Jones 3158, and I will be talking about Klaus Schwab very soon. Now, today although I am talking about today's astrology, I am going to be emphasizing the number 5. Now, you may have ideas about what the number 5 means, but in astrology it has a particular meaning. At least this is the astrology I learnt in the 1980s. When I was studying at the Faculty of Astrological Studies in London, I went to a class called Midpoints and Harmonics. Now, I talk a lot about midpoints in my videos, but not so much about harmonics. And I will be looking at one of the harmonics, the Fifth Harmonic today, which is quite strong. So what does the Fifth Harmonic mean? Well, it's all about the number 5. And when I was taught astrology and when I was reading books about harmonic astrology, I was told that the number 5 is about style. It's a man-made number. It's about what we are trying to create. And I will be trying to show that this number 5, this Fifth Harmonic, is having a big impact on what's going on today. And that's something we do think about. Something we do need to think about. So anyway, let's look at the positions of the planets for today. There you can see I put a big number 5 up there just to remind me what I'm supposed to be talking about, or looking at, what I'm supposed to be emphasizing. So, okay, so here are the positions of the planets for today, which is Monday, August the 21st, 2023. You can see that the moon is still in Libra. Actually, the moon does go into Scorpio very late in the day. Certainly, well, if you're in America, well, in fact, it goes into Scorpio. In Europe, it is actually in Libra all throughout the day. It goes into Scorpio London time. Sorry, I forgot. Let's just remind myself. London time. It goes into Scorpio at just before, just after midnight, does it? Yeah, London time, it goes, 22 minutes after midnight. So, yeah, Western Europe sort of completely misses it. If you're in New York, then this evening you will have the moon in Scorpio. And if you're on the West Coast, then really sort of late afternoon, all evening, the moon is in Scorpio. So moon in Scorpio is only really an issue if you're in the United States or the Americas, in general. As far as what's going on, okay, moon in Libra is you can see that it's conjunct the South Node, and at some stage during the day, wherever you are, the moon is going to be close to the South Node. And the South Node does represent the past. It does represent the line of least resistance. So many of us may be tempted to do things that really we should have grown out of, or do things which is really is kind of yesterday's news, but we can't really get out of it. We just keep going on this past pattern. So we need to avoid that. I mean, I think I mentioned this yesterday, but our emotional responses may be inappropriate. Emotions can just hang around for a long time, and so we might get caught on our own feelings, and we might hang on to our own feelings. So our responses may be inappropriate, particularly on an emotional level. It's also worth noting that the moon is in the Via Combustor. Via Combustor, happens every month, not a big deal, but the Via Combustor is between 15 Libra, 15 Scorpio. The Via Combustor is literally the flaming path. And when the moon's in the Via Combustor, unexpected things can happen. We can have plans, but something can happen that just messes things up. So if you're making plans today, just make an allowance for something unexpected to happen. Don't get obsessed by fixed times, or assuming that certain people are going to turn up or certain people are going to behave in a particular way, because it may well not work out like that. Also, the Sun. Now, yesterday I said that the Sun was quincunx Neptune. In other words, that the Sun was making a 150-degree aspect to Neptune. Now the Sun is making a quincunx to Pluto. So the Sun is in a Neptune opposition, the Neptune-Pluto midpoint. So, we might have a strong desire to forge forward, tell everyone about who we are and how wonderful we are, but things might not be as simple as that. Something is undermining us. It's certainly undermining us if we don't recognize it. So, Pluto in Capricorn, Sun, quincunx, Pluto in Capricorn, 150 degrees. Quincunx in astrology is 150 degrees. Pluto in Capricorn could be the government, or worries about the government, or state interference. So that's something to consider. Today, how is the government or other power structures, how could those power structures actually limit your freedom of action? That doesn't mean they will limit your freedom of action. It's just that you have to be aware of it. Now, as far as this number 5 is concerned, if you look at the position of Mercury and Venus, they are 36 degrees apart. So 36 degrees is 30, because you can see Venus is at 15 Leo, Mercury is at 21 Virgo, so 36 degrees apart. Now, that's a tenth of the circle. Not a 12th, but a tenth of the circle. Now, in astrology, there is this aspect called a quintile, which is 72 degrees apart. So if you're 36 degrees apart, that means they're a semi-quintile apart. And so in astrology, because it's number 5, a quintile is 5, and so the half of 5 is 10, so 2 times 5 equals 10, so 5 is style, 2 is struggle, because it's the opposition, and so it's about the struggle to develop a particular style. So Mercury and Venus are these two very creative planets. Mercury-Venus conjunctions, sextiles, often connected with artistic talent. And when you put them 36 degrees apart, it's like we are struggling to display an artistic and a creative style. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we're artistically or creatively talented, although I think we all are, but we're trying to do that. We're trying really hard. So I would say don't try too hard. Now, as far as the fifth harmonic is concerned, astrologers can actually create a separate chart from this chart. This is a chart for today's positions. But what would happen if you multiplied the position of every single planet by 5? Yeah, believe it or not, that's what you have to do. I mean, I did this astrology exam in, when was it, 1987. I had to do that. You were given, I think, one of the questions, you had to multiply all the positions of the planets by 5. And then once you've multiplied all the positions of the planets by 5, you can create a separate chart. Of course, nowadays computers do it all, but so you create a separate chart, and this is the fifth harmonic chart for today. And you actually find there's a T-square. There is, as we would expect, Mercury opposition Venus, because if two planets are a tenth of the circle apart on the main chart, the normal chart, then they're going to be in opposition on the fifth harmonic. And so there they are, Venus opposition Mercury, and it's been making a fifth harmonic T-square with Jupiter and perhaps Saturn. So that shows that we are really trying our hardest, many of us, to show to show the world how artistic and creative we are. And maybe we're exaggerating a bit. Maybe it's not just us. Maybe we're being we're keeping that to ourselves. Maybe it's other people. So when you look at what people are doing, just look at their behavior. Some people might be behaving in this exaggerated way. Some people may be trying to claim to have artistic abilities that maybe they don't have. They might be trying to adopt the style of a creative artist. Also on the internet, I don't think I am really trying to adopt the style of a creative artist, am I? No, I don't think so. But maybe other people are. So that is something to be aware of. So that's the positions of the planets today. And so now I want to do my forecast for the 12 signs for today, which is Monday, August the 21st, 2023. Aries, there are things you are supposed to be doing, and there are things you are supposed to be avoiding, and it's important that you follow the right path. You might find other people annoying, but there's no place for anger. Instead, lead from the front, but also take into account the frailty of human psychology. Taurus, you want to be in balance with the rest of the world, and it might feel that you have to pay close attention to details. But in most cases, the details can wait until later. Instead, look at the wider universe with all its uncertainties and chaos. Somewhere in the mess is the way forward. Gemini, it's tempting to focus entirely on your own creative self-expression. However, you have to think about the rest of the world and realize that on your own there are limits to what you can achieve. By involving other people in your various pursuits, you maximize your chances of success. Cancer, part of you wants to retreat into your shell. I think more out of laziness than fear. But that's probably your line of least resistance. You should instead be challenging yourself to take advantage of new opportunities. You might not be sure about what's going on or where it's all going to lead, but you need to understand that eventually you will get used to the situation and you will be able to benefit from it. Leo. Leos are having Neptune-Pluto issues. Your sun is 150 degrees from both planets, and it's therefore on the Neptune-Pluto midpoint. So when I say your sun, I mean it's your sun because the sun is your ruling planet. So, your ruling planet is on the Neptune-Pluto midpoint. You want to be yourself, but you are grappling with collective, even cosmic issues. What's going on in the world is important, and you need to understand the prevailing currents. Virgo. You get involved with something that seems easy, but it soon becomes clear that it is more complicated than you'd realise, and that surface appearances are misleading. Yet there is nothing impossible about the situation, and if you work with it, then at some stage you'll get to grips with things. Libra. In one sense, you're in your element. After all, the moon is in Libra, your star sign. Yet you shouldn't necessarily be satisfied with the status quo. Complacency is not the way forward, and constructive disruption may be an appropriate response to the situation. It might shatter your heart to shatter someone's illusions, but it might be necessary. Scorpio. At work, things are difficult to get your head around. It's important to be seen and heard, but you also have to acknowledge that things aren't straightforward. There are confusing messages, and the truth of the matter might be hard to find. You therefore have to make it clear that you won't tolerate anyone's BS. Sagittarius. Your social life continues to look good, and your first inclination might be to reach out to your friends, or to engage as a group rather than as an individual. But is this really the right approach? You have to think of your own individual needs, as well as your own unique talents. A solo path might be the best path, at least for today. Capricorn. There is often a conflict between the need to forge ahead and the need to create secure foundations for yourself. Today, you do feel a need to get noticed, but that shouldn't be your first priority. There are a couple of things, perhaps in your home, that need to be put on a stable footing. Only then can you reach out to the wider world. Aquarius. You don't have to travel the world in order to find yourself, and you don't need to get caught up in elaborate spiritual and philosophical beliefs. Instead, you need to focus on the facts of the matter, the things that are right in front of you. It might be boring, but right now everything stems from the facts and the details. Pisces. Are things really as difficult as they seem on the surface? If you believe other people, then the answer is probably yes. But if you apply yourself to the problem at hand, things will become a lot more straightforward. And I'm thinking particularly of money. Just add up and subtract the numbers, and the fog will clear. So let's now move on to the I Ching. As always, I threw 3 coins in the air, and I asked the question, what is Monday going to be like for visitors to my YouTube channel? And the first hexagram I got was hexagram number 18, which is work on what has been spoilt. The I Ching kind of describes this as being like a can of worms, something mouldy, something rotten, but something that has to be dealt with. It's not just a situation that we can do nothing about. And this hexagram has 3 moving lines. This line moves, first, third, and the 6th. So this first line moving starts to give us some idea about what the cause of this this decay might be. It's not actually our fault completely, not really. It's about maybe that in the past it's a situation there where people have been too focused on the old traditional way of doing things. So think, what is it in your life that has been spoilt? Not necessarily by you, but just as, people have been treating it in the same old way. The traditions have basically outlived their usefulness, and now that the old way of doing things is just causing damage. It's just decaying, and what do? We certainly don't need to blame ourselves. We don't need to beat ourselves up about it, because it's not really our fault. It's perhaps the way other people have behaved. It may even be structures that have been in existence for years, even before we were born, in extreme situations. And then this is the third line, which is talking more about our response to the matter. And there is a slight danger. We look at the problem, we think, oh no, we've got a problem, we've got to deal with this, we've got to fix it. But we go over the top in trying to remove the decay. It's okay to go over the top. It's not desirable. We should try to be more moderate. But the I Ching is not too concerned about going over the top to sort out a problem. It's a natural response. Then the last line moves, the top line. This is giving a different picture. It's like suddenly, we just don't want to get involved. We want to leave the world behind. This problem where there's decay, and maybe it's a social problem. We kind of take the view that maybe, as it wasn't our fault, then do we need to get involved with it at all? And we perhaps feel that we need to distance ourselves from society and the world and its problems. Of course, do remember, I'm talking about an I Ching reading just for today, so let's not be over dramatic about it. But there's going to be perhaps a time in the day when we want to just distance ourselves from all of the surrounding chaos and just, yes. But the I Ching is warning us that we mustn't just be doing this because it's convenient. We must be doing this because we want to do some work on ourselves. It's about distancing ourselves from the rest of humanity, or our family, workmates, whatever, because we've got stuff to sort out. Then we might be ready to throw ourselves back in the fray. And so we now move to the second hexagram, because we've got 3 lines moving. So we move to the second hexagram, which is indeed saying, approach. We need to return to the situation. We need to re-engage with the rest of the world. So maybe this is talking about, towards the end of the day, having considered the matter and worked out what we can do to make the world a better place, what we can't do to make the world a better place. Now it's time to start to reintegrating with society, with our family, with our friends, and so forth. But it's only an approach. I mean, it's not a sort of a big, exaggerated approach, loads of people, or it's just an approach. And then we have to see how our approach is responded to. So that's it. So a short video. I will shortly be talking about Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, and I will talk to you again very soon.